The second day of this event, this is a Story to Glory conference. And yesterday we had a conference, and our speakers were not able to, some of them were not able to come in. So we decided to do it again today. And that's why we've come for the conference today. And what we are sharing about is on the subject, lower your voice. You are welcome to the program from wherever you're watching all over the world. And those that are going to watch the replay, we want to say we appreciate you so much. And I believe that you will help us to like, to share, and to comment about the program. By the grace of God, I'm so excited because we have one of our guests already in the studio with us. Yeah, so it's going to be exciting, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be amazing by the grace of God. While we are preparing, while we are still getting set, I would like to say something. The theme of today's conference is Lower Your Voice. And guess what? Today, I want to share a story from the Bible. Normally in this conference, I don't usually talk from the Bible just because maybe we don't have enough time or it's a motivational show. So we don't really go into scriptures like that. But today I want to share a story with you. Something that happened. And it's about a man that was sick. The man was blind, he couldn't see, and he was sitting in his normal position, sitting in his normal place, and he heard a sound of people, many people. And when he heard this sound, this man now spoke and said, "What's going on? Why is this sound? Why are people making a lot of noise?" And somebody told him that Jesus Christ of Nazareth is passing. Jesus Christ of Nazareth is around. So that's why people are rushing. So this man started screaming because the man has heard about Jesus. He has heard that Jesus can heal the sick, he can open blind eyes, he can raise the dead, he can do a lot of miracles. So this man started screaming. He was screaming and he was saying, "Help me, Jesus, thou son of David." So people around him, the people that were around, they now said to the man, "Why are you disturbing? Even the Jesus that you are calling cannot hear you. Where he is far away. So he can't hear you. Why are you screaming? Lower your voice. Reduce your voice. Stop screaming. Stop making so much sound. Jesus can't hear you." And this man, he refused to listen to them. He kept screaming. He kept shouting. He kept saying, "Jesus, thou son of David, you've got to help me. You've got to heal me." He kept saying it so loud. And guess what? As he was saying it, Jesus heard him. And when Jesus heard him, he said that they should bring him. And they brought the man. They came and told the man, "Jesus has heard you and he's asking for you to come. He wants you to come. So stand up and move. Let's take you to Jesus." And guess what? He stood up, he got to Jesus, and Jesus restored his sight. Jesus healed him. Now, I use that story to encourage somebody today. I don't know who is telling you, lower your voice. I don't know who is telling you that you can't speak, you can't be what you are supposed to be. But today we want to share with you that you've got to raise your voice. You've got to raise your voice. You've got to speak out. One of the quotes that I quoted yesterday, he said that everyone that has a word and a voice should speak it, should release it. You can't have something and you keep it to yourself. God didn't give you for you to keep it to yourself. God didn't give you that idea, that vision, that revelation, that creativity, that talent, that opportunity for you to keep it to yourself. No, God wants you to share it with others. He knows that when through you, he can get it across to others. So that thing that you need to release today, you've got to release it. You've got to step out. You've got to show forth. Don't allow the situations of life to make you to lower your voice. So, once again, you're welcome to the program. And we have in the studio already from Nigeria, all the way from Nigeria, we have in the studio my dear friend, Mrs. Dorcas Bosede Frank. And guess what? This is the first time that we are having a guest from Nigeria in my online show. So this is very awesome for me. So she's here already, and can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. That's great. You're welcome. So introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, everyone. Let me say good evening from Nigeria. And whatever time it is in your location there, I'm Dr. Bosede Frank. I'm from Nigeria. By the grace of God, I'm a school proprietress. I'm proprietress of Virtue Montessori Model School. I'm also the CEO of Virtue Series Publishers, where we publish educational textbooks. And so far, I think I have over 60 something books already now. Plus, I'm also an empowerment coach. I run the virtuous and the asset women coaching center. I'm a pastor's wife and a minister of the gospel. I'm also a teenage teacher. I've been a teenage department for over 20 years plus. And currently I'm the head of the teens church, my local church. God has helped me in many areas. I know it takes a lot of time, a lot of challenges, but He has used my story to make me a better person. I had a battered beginning. It was not beautiful at the beginning, but I thank God that it has changed. And I'm grateful to God. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Amazing. That's an amazing introduction. You are really welcome to the program, Mrs. Dorcas Bosede Frank. I appreciate your taking out time to join us for the program today. So I want us to go straight, and I have some questions for you. And the first question is, what's that story, that challenging situation that you faced in life that wanted to lower your voice? A situation that maybe you never even thought you would be able to come out of it, but somehow you came out. Can you tell us about that situation?
Yes, I have two that are very related to each other. As a young girl, I grew up in the midst of six siblings, and suddenly we lost our father. I think I was about 7 years old in a ghastly motor accident. And I was the second child in the family. I have to be given to relatives, and I suffered a lot of child abuse as a young girl. I have a relative that early as primary school, I have to start taking care of myself, pay my little fees, meet my little needs by selling funny, funny things in the classroom, which I sneaked. But the funny thing about it, in the midst of all this distraction, I still pass in school. I remember hawking early in the morning, the woman I stay with. And when my mates are going to school, I have to go and hawk in the morning. But in the midst of the hawking, even a pen cannot be purchased for me. I have to do my things by myself. But it has been a contributing factor and making me a better entrepreneur today. That is one aspect. Another aspect of my life is because of my father's death, I have to stay with different relatives. And as I was growing up as a teenager, I wasn't a free girl. There was no self-confidence. My voice was really low. I couldn't talk. When you didn't grow up with your relative, your confidence level is low. So I've learned to buckle things and solve problems on my own. I was making errors. So along the line, when I was about 20 years, I started my first relationship. It was smooth at the beginning, but along the line, there was a problem. I was defied by a close friend of the young man. And I was roped
Hmm.
up in a story. that I couldn't defend myself. There was a lie on me. I couldn't explain what I was explaining, but nobody was believing my story. I felt battered, I felt bad, and I have to leave the town, a godly mother. But in the midst of thinking I'm trying to get out of the first failed relationship, I entered another one, which is the second one. But before I could know what happened as a young girl, I took in. And it was as if my whole world crushed. It was painful. I was on revenge mission for the first person that messed me up. And if not for God, maybe I would have been in jail today. Because I was so much possessed with the spirit of hatred. And I was on mission of revenge, so terrible that I move about with knife. That if
Hmm.
I see this guy, I'm ready to stab him. That was all that I was. There was no reason to live for me anymore. And along the line, one day, there's an elder woman in my house, my family house that was going to my church, and she picked interest in me. I began to pray for me. I don't answer her because I was a bitter person. In the midst of praying for me, one day there was a prayer going on at home, morning devotion, and they were preaching about forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. The first, the second day, and I didn't know the woman was busy praying for me as a person. And one day in the morning, I just broke down, I was crying. And I met her, and she ministered to me, and I gave my life to Christ. It was difficult for me, I just have to let go. But as I forgive, it was as if a big body was lifted off me. I was shaking myself, I was so light, you know. But the funniest part of it, 3 weeks after I gave my life to Christ, the young man I was looking for to stab showed up with begging. And I was feeling cheated. I said, you have come 3 weeks ago. I feel cheated. I just gave my life to Christ. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I said, you have come 3 weeks ago. I wish you had come 3 weeks ago. But thank God for Christ. Because if I was carrying that demon possessed spirit, maybe I would have stabbed him. I would have been in jail. I don't know. But by the mercy of God, I was delivered. And he was begging. I was trying to make up the whole things. And according to his story, he said he went somewhere, they told me you've offended somebody, go and sort it out. Your life can never be better. So God delivered me from that. But in the midst of this, there was an injury already on ground. The new relationship I entered, I took in. And I was confused. My life was battered. I don't know how to start again. It was painful. I just gave my life to Christ. I can't have an abortion as a born again Christian. So I just have to decide. But thank God for God brought godly people my way. And I'm a privilege of godly men and women today that stood by me. And the situation brought out the best of me today. I have challenges with the new family. The young man was a good man, but the supposed family that I thought were opposing me on a class level. They're from very wealthy home, and I was from a little background. But I said something to myself. I said, oh, I realize it's a class issue. I said, this young man, family will see me tomorrow and regret that this is the wife they missed. That was my starting point. I said, I want to be the wife in his life that he ever missed. And I said, I will be seen on the screen. The family and all of them looked at him and said, you missed a wife. And that was how my life was transformed. And today, it serves as a driving force to try to bring me out the best of me and begin to invest in myself. Anything that I have to do with women and education and self, I put my head to it. And with Christ in me today, that vision is today. Even though I didn't marry to him, if I later died, and the young man was the only child he had in life, but God gave me a good husband. And it's like God saw the future. I remember the family of the child telling me that if you had 2 children from my brother, you will have died by now, you will have been a young widow. The Bible says all things work together for our good. Things may not go the way you want, but as long as you have allowed God into your life, you can remold it as a potter and bring out the best. The both side, God gave me a godly man that knows my story and is there for me. I'm privileged by the grace of God. When I look at my husband, I say, God, even the virgin were not privileged to have this, and I'm grateful. And the young man is a big guy now, he's 24 years old. And each time I see him, I say, God, thank you for this gift. If I had not met, I would have wasted maybe waste in abortion. But it's today I'm happy and I'm proud to see him. And I'm thank God for everything. That's my story.
Wow, 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 wow. That's a great one. It's a powerful one. It's loaded. Thank you so much, Mrs. Dorcas, for that amazing story. Thank you so much. And I bless God for what you've been through and how you've come out today. And today you are a treasure. You are a blessing to people. Imagine you are in Kaduna, right?
Katsina in another part of Nigeria.
Okay, Katsina. You can
Yeah.
imagine. Katsina and this lady is making impacts even
I'm a
online.
Grace of God, I have over 70 something staff now.
Wow, 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 wow. In fact, you are a testimony. You are a testimony. I celebrate you so much and I thank God for your life. There is so much that we can learn from what Mrs. Dorcas have said to us today, from her story. She went through a lot, but she came out. She made a decision. And that's why, like yesterday, I said that the starting point, it's a decision. You've got to make a decision and say, this is what I want. This is what I want to do. I'm not going to remain like this. I'm not going to stay in this situation. I'm not going to stay in this. I'm not going to accept this idea of lowering my voice. I'm not going to do it. You know, it begins with a decision. She said to herself, well, I'm going to be the wife that that family will miss, or the wife that they would say, I wish we had accepted her. I wish we hadn't rejected her or refused her. And indeed, she became such a person. Today, she's a great entrepreneur. She has schools, she has businesses, she has a lot of things that are working for her. She's a fulfilled woman. Yes. And and I'm so happy to know her and to have her on this show. My dear friends watching this program today, I want you to know that no matter what you are going through, that is not the end of your life. The situation you are in right now is not the end of your life. So the situation might be forcing you to lower your voice, but don't accept to lower your voice. I'm challenging you. We are challenging you that you need to speak out. You need to speak out. Mrs. Dorcas, I have a question that I need to ask. While I was preparing for this show today, something was bothering my mind because I read a story today of a lady who was a celebrity. She was a great lady. She was a singer and she was known, you know, all over the world. And suddenly she had a sex scandal. And as a result of the scandal, that lady committed suicide. And then today, again, a lady in Nigeria, I'm not going to call the name, is a popular musician and she's known in Nigeria and around the world. And stories came out about there was a scandal, a sex tape or something was released and people started watching it and all of that. So I was reading somebody talking about these two celebrities today. And guess what? One of them, somebody went to them, one of these two people, okay? Somebody went to them and said, demanding millions of money from them. You know, when such a thing happens, because the person is a celebrity, there are people that take advantage of it and try to, you know, collect money from the person, do a lot of things in order to tarnish the image of that person. And today, such things are happening to many people just because they are celebrities, just because they have made it. So my question now is, what do you have to say to those that are going through such a situation? It may not be on a large scale, it may not be on a big level, but somebody might be going through something whereby another person is trying to do a propaganda, is trying to spoil your name, tarnish your image, you know, because he has something against you. What do you do in that kind of situation?
I have two things to say in that situation. Number one, as you are going higher, watch your back. You must have to set the standard for yourself of what you ought to do or what you don't do. You should know you're all there, are all eyes on you. So you watch your back and be careful what you do. Then number two, peradventure you know you've made a mistake. The best medicine for that for you not to allow darkness to strive is to expose it. If you know you've made mistake, if it's against your husband, be the first to tell him.
Hmm. Wow.
Because no matter you keep covering it, you keep committing more errors, and he will still hear. Or you keep committing more, no matter how much you cover, he will still hear. You must have gone to a point of no return. So whatever you know you have made a mistake, whoever you know you offended, either your spouse or someone close to you, be the first to come out to remorsefulness and talk. You have silenced every other error you are likely to make. Number one. Number two, you are weakening any blackmail against you, and then you can move on free. Like when I met my husband, I know the first day I met him, I told him, I said, you met a young child in my house. He said, yes. I said, that child, I told him my father died 83. He said, that child is not a child of 83. I said, I'm the mother. He said, I know. I was happy. So when other stories start coming up, whatever his friends are saying, say, I know about it. So if you know you made a mistake, whoever you know your action is affecting, either your family, your spouse, be the first to talk. And then in that area you've sang, you have talked, you have exposed it. So it's no longer news to whoever want to. If your husband is hearing anything, you have had it before and go. But if you are covering and begin to hear from outside, how do you start healing it? And someone is blackmailing you and you keep paying and paying and paying. How long will you pay? You will have committed much more error, and at the end it will still be exposed. So let's be wise. So light is the solution for darkness not to strive. That which you are covering will surely come out. So open it yourself. Don't allow somebody else do it for you. That's my own
Wow.
suggestion.
Wow. That is so powerful. Thank you so much, Mrs. Dorcas. That is so powerful. And I believe that it's going to help somebody. You know, and some people, they don't want to, because they have not been able to bring out their own gifts or their own talents or have their own opportunities. They look for others who have gotten their own, others who have been lifted in life, others who have been favored in life, and they try to bring them down. And I wonder why people are like that. But you see, the Bible even said it very clear that the heart of man is desperately wicked
Wicked.
or evil. It's full of evil and wickedness. So that's why they are happy to see others go down, because they are not able to reach the level those people have reached. So they say to themselves, let me bring them down. But what do you gain when you bring somebody down? What do you gain when you bring others down? You know, I think, Mrs. Dorcas, you need to say something about that. What do you have to say to those who specialize in bringing others down?
You know, what I want to say is this: life, our actions are seed we are planting each day. Whatever a man sow, he will reap. If you think you are bringing, whoever God has not brought down, no matter their attempts to bring the person down, he will always go up. And if it's somebody who have a covenant relationship with God, no matter the attempt of bringing me down, I will say, even though a righteous man falls 7 times, he has a
Hmm.
genuine heart, and there's a covenant relationship over that person. You can't bring him down. You can only make attempts. And the person trying to bring the person down is sowing a seed of himself never going up in life. It can't go up. You can't sow maize and want to reap yam. So when you bring people down, you can never go up. And that person, God, the person sincerely, genuinely confesses and repents. The hand that is lifting up will still lifting up. So forget about what people are saying. My father in the Lord, will say, the backbiter will always be at the back. So don't, even if you say that you are the front, don't focus on them. But what I always try to do, that no matter what they say about it, make sure it is not true. Don't get distracted by people. My life, the standard of living is that the only people I'm answerable to is God, my husband, my family. Any other people owns their opinion, I don't care. But what matters is what God is saying about me, and then what testimony I have for my husband. I don't don't do things because I don't want to offend him, because my destiny is attached to his own. And also, what role model am I playing to my children? And these are the three people that are more important in my life. Any other person owns their opinion, and I don't care about it. But what I matter to me is that what is God saying? So if you are going up, also forget about what people say. Will surely talk about you, both negative and forget. You are not living your life for anybody. Have it in mind. If you want to be men pleaser, they be making mistake and be living a fake life and be acting drama. Be yourself, be sincere, be humble, and focus on what is God saying concerning me. And before you know, you are happy. And when you make errors, you still go back to God and your family holding your hands to see you getting up back again.
Wow, Mrs. Dorcas, thank you so much. That is so powerful. I tell you the truth, many people are going to be blessed by those things that you have said. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on the program and for sharing these insightful messages with us today. And I'm glad to see my dear friend already in the studio. Uh, Yesterday she said she was there, but somehow we're not able to get her in. But thank God she's here now. And all the way from Kenya, I'm happy to bring to you Mrs. Gubo Riwe. She's my close friend. And it's not as if it's somebody I know from a distance. She's somebody that we are close, we talk, we've been together, we've worked together. Even in my charity projects in Kenya, she has been there. Sometimes we've gone for charity projects together. So I'm glad to have her on the show today. And guess what? She's a politician. And not just a politician, she's the wife of the deputy governor of Marsabit County in Kenya. So she's an amazing person. So please help me make welcome Mrs. Guboriwe. Sorry, yeah, Mrs. Guboriwe, Rhoda Guboriwe. You are
Thank you
welcome
so
to the
much.
show. Wow,
Thank you
wow,
so
wow.
much.
Okay.
I wanted to greet everyone, my sisters who have talked before me yesterday and today. I am Rhoda Solomon Gubo. I thank God for the grace that He has given us for the salvation. It is by the grace of God that we are alive even this day. I want to encourage my sisters that we are learning a lot from them. It's not that we are in this conference together, but it is also a learning session for us. I want to share my moments with you. My lowest moment was when I was pregnant with my kid. And I went through a lot. It is by the grace of Lord that I'm alive even today. I still could remember very well as yesterday when I had conceived my baby. That is December 2015. And I thought that it is normal for the first 3 months because the other pregnant was different. I could not have a lot of changes at the morning sickness were not there. But this one came differently. I became very sick to a point that I could not think of anything else. Because it's very hard for you to tell people I am pregnant and I am sick. So people will tell you it's nature, it's natural for the first 3 months. But after the first 3 months, going to the fourth and the fifth month, things were getting out of hand. I could remember that whenever I go for a short call, always I could bleed. And during the pregnancy, for a woman, it's not a good sign that you are bleeding.
Mm.
And because of the culture and way of life, I could not speak out to people that this is what I am going through. So I went from one gynecology to another one, seeking for help. So, you have been in Marsabit. You know where Marsabit is. Most of the time, I could go to Meru, seeking for help, coming back, but the situation never changed. The thing was the same. So when it reached the fifth month, so whenever I go to this gynecologist, he could tell me that it is better we get rid of this baby
Hmm.
rather than losing 2 lives. and you are young, God will bless you with another child. So the best thing to do is to get rid of this pregnancy for you to survive. And I knew, even in my story, even before, whenever I give birth through cesarean, which has become very problematic for me. So I did not want to lose the child. At the same time, I did not want to lose my life. So I gather courage and pray. Every time I pray, I could even hide from my husband and continue praying. I told God to see me through, because whenever you tell people I'm bleeding, you see, most of the doctors, they'll just write for you a referral. Go to the biggest hospital nearby. And I've made a lot of trips, and there is no help coming. Whenever I go to different gynecologists, whatever they will tell me is just, let's get rid of this baby. And the baby was just at 5 months. So I sometimes even I hide from my husband what I was going through, because whenever I tell him or whenever I see me in this situation, he was having a lot of worries. You see, at home, I remember, like, we could not even chat, we could not even play, because always what he thinks is that this pregnancy will not only take away this child, but also it is going to go with me. So making many trips here and there, and then seeing things could not change, one day I gathered my courage. And then I remember a family friend of ours who's our prayer partner. He's called Pastor Godwin. He's in Kenya. He's from Nigeria, but he has lived in Kenya. We have been friends for now, I think, the last 10 years. So I don't know why God directed me to him. I took it because I had his number. I just called him and explained myself to him and told him, Daddy, I have been moving from one doctor to the other one. I've been changing doctors. All they tell me is that they have to get rid of this pregnancy so that they can save my life. And I told him that this pregnancy, I got through prayers. It was not easy for me to conceive. And I don't want to lose this baby, and I don't want to lose my life. Daddy, you have to pray for me. God has to intervene in my situation. So I cried. I want to tell even those who are going through a lot of problem. Sometimes our tears speak before the Lord. It's not much that we speak. It's not much that you tell people your situation. Sometimes our tears speaks for us. So I remember calling, and even after talking to him, I could still cry and tell God, what is this? Whenever I go now, the biggest problem was even at 5 months. Whenever I go for a short call, there is a lot of bleeding coming out. And I tell God, where did we go wrong? So after now praying with the man of God, I know nowadays most of people, I don't say that all men of God are bad or all women of God are bad. There are those, when you want to tell them to pray for you, some will tell you, uh, you have to give out a seed, you have to do this, you have to do this. I want to thank God because of Pastor Godwin, because he tell me that everything is impossible with God. And he told me that I should not have fear, that I should trust in God because he has the best plan for me. I continue reading my Bible. I remember that I like so much to read the book of Psalms. Whenever I read the book of Psalms, it gives me new strength every day, every day. Whenever I look, I hear the stories of David. He has got different stories. When he is in joy, when he's in sorrow, when he's faced with a lot of problem. You know, in the book of Psalms, you could get different versions that the psalmist, that was David, speaks to God about his situation. So I gathered my courage reading the book of Psalm now and then, now and then. I could read also the book of Job and see what Job has been going through. And then I told God, intervene in my situation. Intervene in my situation. So after that, after that day that I prayed with the man of God, it is the same day that I don't know whether it is God or whether it is God who was intervening in my case, because I wanted, I saw there is a need to change the doctor again, the gyna. I think this is the fourth gyna that I'm changing. So I changed the gyna again to another one. And don't forget that this Gaina, the other Gainas we have who have been visiting, some are Christian, but this particular one is a Muslim doctor. But I put my trust in God and tell God, please intervene. Even if I go to this Gaina, he will not be of much help to me when you will not intervene in my case. Lord, please intervene in my case. So if it's my day to go to the Gaina tomorrow when I have a date there, I could call the man of God. We could pray together with even his wife through the phone, and I could go to the doctor. When I went to the doctor gave me a different way rather than the other doctors who have been visiting. He told me, there's a way that I can help you if God helps us all. And then he told me, we can remove this baby when the baby reaches 7 months. And remember now, that is the 5th month. I was going to the 6th month. So he told me, we have to wait for the other 2 months so that at the month of 7, exactly at the month of the 7, I could remember very well that 7th month, it will be on 6 2016. He told me exactly that day we are going to try our level best, and we are going to do a cesarean on you so that we can save the child and also you. So I started thanking God. Whenever I go to the doctor, before I go to the doctor, we could pray with the men of God. I could pray with my family. My kids will pray for me. And that is how I started my journey going to the doctor that I started visiting, the gynecologist who is also a surgeonist. To cut the long story short, when it reached the 6th month, going to the 7th month, I could see that God was intervening in my case, because whenever I go for the short call, the bleeding was still there. And sometimes I could have even pain. The pain that I was feeling, I could not share with anybody. That is the lowest time of my life, because sometimes I bleed, sometimes I have funny pain. This pain is like the labor pain. It's like I'm going to give birth that minute. But after some 20 to 15 minutes, the pain will disappear and still come back again. So I could not know what to explain. Sometimes, even if you speak, people could see that maybe you are lying, maybe you want comfort, maybe you want to be given a lot of attention because of your situation. So it was very hard for me to tell anybody what I was going through. I thank God because of my family, especially my sisters and my husband and our prayer partner. So we kept on, but when it came to the 7th month, that D-Day, again, I went to the same hospital in the morning. He could tell me that we are going to do the operation this day. I called the man of God, even when I was going for that operation. Remember that before I even came to the hospital, we were doing the prayers. And whenever even I talk to the doctor, whatever I talk with the doctor, I could tell the man of God. I thank God because he has a background of medic. He's a medician with even the wife. So I will consult them, they will consult me, and I will consult the doctor. But remember that all this process I could not understand, because me myself, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a clinic officer or a doctor. So whatever they could say, I could just hear the advice and share it with the man of God and tell him this is what they have told me. So he could tell me, go on, it's well, it shall be well. I remember him telling me many times that it shall be well with me. He never asked me for any shilling, or he never told me to sow a seed that people fear nowadays so much. So that D-Day, I remember him injecting me in the morning, and at noon, around noon there, they tell me that they are preparing me to go to the theater. And I told the doctor, he is a very good doctor. I told him that I will walk to the theater. I don't want to be carried by the stretchers and all this, because I am well. And he agreed. So when I went into theater, I could remember the first time we could speak, the doctor could speak to me. And then I told him, all is well, I have no fear. And I tell him to give me time to pray. After I did my prayers, they went on with the operation. But when the operation was being done, I could hear voices. The theater, in the theater, I could hear a voice telling me that he will restore and expand me. So I was wondering where the voice was from. I could try and find out where the voice was coming from. You know, when you are in a hall where there is an echo, you could feel that voice that disturbs you. And whenever I look around, I could just hear the voice that I am going to restore and expand you. And I wondered what was this. And at a time, I could just could not understand what was going on, because there was a lot of shout in the theater. I don't know whether the doctors were shouting because of the inducement. I could not get anything clear, but the voice repeatedly speak to me until when I was out of the theater. Now after the theater, it was in the evening. So you know, when you go through the operation for the first 6 hours, they just tell you don't move, you should be flat on your stomach, do this and that. So at the midnight, when I get back to my conscience, I could ask them, where is the child? And then they told me the child is somewhere in the nursery, in the incubator. Now, you know, as human beings, sometimes I want to tell those who are listening to us, we human beings, we are never satisfied. One time I was crying that I want baby. Another time I was praying that God will see me through the operation. And now immediately after the operation, I was thinking about the child again. You see how ungrateful we are. So, and then at midnight, I don't know whether it was 2 or 3, I don't know, somewhere like that, the nurse told me that your child is somewhere in the nursery there in the incubator. So I went to visit the child. When I went to visit the child in the nursery, I could see many women, small, tiny kids in the incubator, many of them. So I was wondering, so even me, I gave birth to a very small, tiny kid. You know, I could not imagine because the babies that I was seeing there, they were very tiny. And I remember this mother, I don't know her name. You know, we are from different places. We just met there because of the service that we need in the hospital. And she could tell me, I have been here for the last 2 months. I'm waiting for my child to put on some weight. And I could remember another one crying because the child is just too teeny, that the doctors were worried whether this child will survive. And now there I am. And I could not know which is my child now among all these children. And then the nurse helped me and took me to a child. And she told me, this is your child. But now your child has got a good kg. You know, the small girl is at 2.5. And then I told God, really, God, you are God who hears our prayer. You are God who answers your people's cry. And then when I look at my child and the other children, there were many, about 15 to 20. I could count them. And then I just see that it is abnormal because my child is a bit bigger than all the other kids that I could see in that incubator. The incubators are different. They are not put all in the same incubator, but they were, you know, lined like the way we line the refrigerator or something like that. And then I told God, God, you are merciful. And then now the lady told me that, you know, I'm here for 2 months. I told my God, my Father, I will not stay here long. The story that the lady is telling me about 2 months, that is hers. Mine has to be different. And many a times when I go to visit the child, I could just cry. Some moment I could not talk to anybody, but I could just cry and tell God, God, my story is different and I'm going home. And remember, that is after I think some 2-3 days. And the other women were laughing at me. You know, we have been here, we have been here. And the first night when I went to visit the child, there was a mother. In the morning when I came, that mother lost her kid. So the place was, the atmosphere was not good at all. It was terrifying. But I could feel inside me and remember the words in the theater that God is going to restore and expand me. I told God, you are God who keeps your promise. That's why I like reading the book of Psalms. And I tell God, the God of David, he never lies. He fulfilled his promise. Now, God, you are the one who understands and you know how to get me out of this place. After some 2-3 days, they could tell me to breastfeed the kid, and the kid did not develop that, you know, sense of sucking. At one point, I told God, again, what is this? And then I remember there was a certain doctor who told me that particular day, if this kid is not breastfeeding, there is a way that we are going to feed the kid through the pipe. I could not understand the process. And then I told God, God, you who hears and see what is done in secret. My father, you know how you gave me this baby? I've had the doctor's side. Now intervene. So they told me now the process that I don't know what they are calling, but they told me that through even the pipe, the baby can feed. So one morning, when they were telling me now they are ready for the process, I came and hold the child. You know, I don't tell them what I do. And the funny thing, I've got my anointing oil. Huh? Whenever I go to that nursery, I anoint my child and I anoint my priest. And I tell God, you are God who does wonderful things that people don't understand. Now bring the chemistry. Here, I need to see. And then the doctor gave me the child. And then I hold the child closer to my breast. The funny thing, the child started breastfeeding. I don't know what happened, but the child started breastfeeding. And the doctor said, this child is well. The child can also breastfeed. But they don't know the other story. So I told God, you know, God, I need to go out of this hospital. This is not my place. So I stayed for like around a week. And then after the third or the fourth day, the guy now was also passing through my place and talking to me. He was telling me how they were closely about to lose me in the operation. He could even narrate to my sisters and my husband, and everybody could cry. And he said that there is a problem with my womb. It was bleeding so much. And I told God, that is his story. That is not the story that the Lord has told me. And you know, at one point, he told my sister and my husband, if they could give him, you know, if they could allow him, they would remove my uterus. And now he said
Oh,
that
okay.
since
I would want you to round it up, to wrap it up, because my
okay,
network is almost going. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So he told them those things, and I told them that is I trust in God, and is God who does a lot of wonders. So from that day, I think like a week and 2 days, I stayed there, and I went back to my sister somewhere. I stayed for a month, and now that child is 5 years. Imagine, she's very healthy, and my even the doctor did not remove my uterus. I'm having my uterus, I'm having my child. That is why from that day
Wow.
I took the responsibility to pray with all pregnant women and the barren women. There's no single day that passes by that I don't pray for pregnant women or barren women. I know of stories that women gave back at 10 years in their marriage, after 10 years, after 14 years. And I like so much to pray for pregnant women. Even when they are going to their labor woods. When you call me, I will just come in with my anointing oil and I will just pray for you because I know what God has done for me. You see? And the funny part, you know, there are those people who request for cesarean so that they cannot feel the pain. But mine is different. I was subjected to it because of my problem. So there are those people are out there. Whenever people speak about, you know, pregnancy complication, people cannot understand. Many people don't want to talk what they go through because many people go to depressions because, you know, the kid is just too young. At 7 months the kid cannot breastfeed, and you are there, you stay in a hospital for 2 months, 3 months, you see. But I want to tell women that went through the problem that I've been going through, that there is God who answers prayer. Don't tell people a lot of problem about your life or this. Just tell God. You know, God understands even our tears whenever we don't speak. So from that time, I took a lot of responsibility. Even this day, I'm a living testimony. I am a living testimony because I know what God has done for me. He can do it for any other person. It is because of God's mercy, grace, and His forgiveness that we are alive today. So thank you so much. God is able, and even this day, I still trust my God. He's a big God.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I call her
Welcome.
Your Excellency. Thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing this amazing testimony. I believe that many have truly been blessed through it. I'm sorry, because of my network, we have to wrap up the program as soon as possible so that we can end it successfully. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for this
Welcome.
testimony. And as we listen to it over and over again, I'm sure it's going to encourage a lot of people. Thank you, Mrs. Dorcas Bosede Frank, for coming all the way from Kaduna. And as I round up, allow me to congratulate and celebrate His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Massabit. That's the husband of our dear sister here. Today is his birthday. So from this online show, we are saying happy birthday to His
Thank
Excellency
you.
Deputy Governor
Thank you so
Guboriwe.
much.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. God
Amen.
bless you all.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
You are all blessed in Jesus' name. Thank you so much for
Amen.
coming. And till we come your way again, stay blessed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.